Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy and pleasant Mother's Day to all mothers. And I want to especially say Happy Mother's Day to my mother, Gwen Storer, and to my wife, Associate Pastor Newton. She has borne my children, and my mother has borne me. So I want to say special Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day to both of you. And then I want to extend Happy Mother's Day to all of our church mothers, and also to all of the other mothers of our church and the community. God bless you. This morning, I want to encourage you on this beautiful Mother's Day from the Gospel according to St. Mark, the 10th chapter, starting at verse 13. And they brought young children to him, that he should touch them. And his disciples rebuked those that brought them. But when Jesus saw it, he was much displeased, and said unto them, Suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. Verily I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of God as a little child, he shall not enter therein. And he took them in his arms, put his hands upon them, and blessed them. This morning, this is a wonderful word of encouragement, a word of instructions, and a word of action. It is a word of encouragement because we find that the mothers were bringing their children to Jesus. And this is the right response. Mothers and guardians of children should do all within their power to lead and to bring children to Jesus. I think this should have been an act that was commended by the followers of Christ. The disciples, who were Christ's armor bearers and his emissaries, should have rejoiced to see that the mothers or whoever they were that were bringing these children were exercising such a noble responsibility, and that of bringing the children to the right place. You know, there's a right place that we should bring children to, and that right place is to Jesus. And no doubt in those days, parents were taking their children to the temple of Diana and all the other gods that had their temples. But these particular mothers, they brought their children to Jesus. And upon bringing them to Jesus, his disciples, the writer calls them the stern disciples, rebuke them and tell them, do not trouble the master with these children. This is not the right attitude to take. And I believe today that if there was ever a time that people of God, in particular ministers and deacons and others, should be encouraging children to come to Christ and mothers to bring their children to Christ, it is now. And not on the other side, discouraging them by not showing them the kind of attention that they need, the kind of love that they need, and the kind of invitation, inviting gestures that the mothers and those who bring their children to Christ should have. So on this beautiful Mother's Day, I want to encourage mothers and potential mothers to not mind the noise in the market where people are saying all kinds of negative things about Christ and about his people. I want to encourage you to continue to hold your family prayer altar while the church is in what we call a holding pattern. Continue to bring your children to Christ. Continue to pray. Continue to call your pastor and to ask your pastor to pray with the children, to have a word of encouragement with them. Because not all the time the pastor will get around to calling you, but you can always call your pastor and require prayer. In some respect, the pastor stands in the place of where Christ would stand here on the earth, and that is to be the comforting balm that you would need in times like these. And so, my friends, we're going to just continue this in the next session of our discussion.